Let's make something. I think I got the basics down on this puppy. Oh, gotta go in and decorate. And then I shall field questions and have a conversation. And that noise is coming from here. So, welcome to absolutely nobody. Who should we bring in to the mix here? Him, 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 him. Welcome. Final room. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, we're starting with me talking. Imagine that. We're gonna check out some trailers too. Stay up to date.
Wondered what it would sound like to hear the thoughts of a grown woman named Opal. It just so happens that one of the founders of Black Lives Matter is a woman named Opal. I have prepared my body for greatness. Commence.
Okay. I could bring in this.
Happens that one of the founders of Black Lives Matter is a woman named Opal. Opal. It just so happens that one of the founders of Black Lives Matter is a woman named Opal. I have prepared my body for greatness. Commence.
Good. Starts talking. And I think I want to see her face. At least for a bit. Bring the braces in. And why is it not giving me the option to scale that down? That is disturbing. Yes, it is. Anybody who does After Effects will see that that is a bug.
Oh, God. I love the juxtaposition of this. So you have Trump and his family walk out, and this woman is glancing to the right. Oh, we'll fix it in post.
And we will show what I'm talking about. Kill the sound.
In post, just it'll be like you're looking at Trump and his family, and then just glance at the camera with a knowing look, just like, yo, people, do I really need to say anything? White people in the halls of power. Have we not had enough of this? I thought we had reached a milestone with Obama. I thought the narrative was fuck whites. That's kind of what the Hillary campaign was about.
And then I'm going to slide on over here. Got some issues right here. I'm going to save this, close this out, close that out, and then I'm going to reopen. Oh, hey people. Why did that not work? Jesus Christ. I'm in meltdown mode here. Here we are. Let's see. Sometimes a restart is all it takes. Just fire it up. No. Oh, okay. My fault.
In the halls of power. Have we not had enough of this? I thought we had reached a milestone with Obama. I thought the narrative was fuck whites. That's kind of what the Hillary campaign was about. Everybody knows how I think about Trump. Drop dead doesn't mean I'm not aware that Opal from Black Lives Matter staring at these 5 white people and then staring at the camera. Lives Matter staring at these 5 white people and then staring at the camera is not laced with anti-white bigotry. That's all you're looking at right now. But I don't want to deplatform her, so please continue. Oh.
Okay, so you're gonna, let's make that bigger. Like that, yes. And put on shocked expression. Slide her over.
Oh, those eyeballs just opened up and just, whoa. So you're a human rights.
Yeah. This.
Those eyeballs just opened up and just, whoa.
And we'll do it again. And we will, on this time stretch it. Yeah, make it at least twice as long.
Human rights activist, but then the actual organizations that you're a part of preface the humans in question.
Let's go even bigger on this last one.
Blumenthal. Okay, now it's just stream of consciousness. Just pointless. Okay, so why don't you just come out and say it? I am a self-centered, racist humanist. And you're an activist. I mean, how goddamn sanctimonious is it? Self-activists. I want to deactivate you.
First,
Not exactly.
Put a Jew in there.
Not exactly sure that this woman would appreciate being called an ancestor. Okay? There's color footage of her, for God's sakes. And already the whiff of tribalism, our ancestors, cut to a black woman. Is this part of your humanism that I'm hearing? We're not going to get a John Lennon quote right now? You know, that white ancestor of ours?
cannot let. Says, let us.
What? Hold on. I'm not over this freedom. You know,
Cut back to the freedom.
freedom. You know what it is? They look through history books and they get all amped up. They see a movie, they see Roots, and they're thinking, yeah, man, this crusade for freedom, civil rights, man, that's what I'm about. That's an get behind. Who's against freedom? Even Mel Gibson's in favor of freedom.
And we calm that down.
You know what I'm going to do? Here's what I'm going to do. I got a little following on Twitter and I.
Now we put something in the background. What is good? I think there's a new image. What was it? This? Yeah, I like this. What is that? Oh, it's already there. Bring it in. There we go. Scale it down. No. Scale it down over time. And we will start with, I think it's actually pleasing to have motion, even though it's kind of, it's not that spectacular, it's just kind of fluid, but I think it actually helps.
You know what I'm going to do? Here's what I'm going to do. I got a little following on Twitter and I got a microphone and stuff, and I got a lot of passion, and I want my life to mean something. I want to be important. So here's my cause. I say freedom for blacks. Oi, Opal, they are free. You're rubbish, mate.
And there he was, this young boy.
Okay, that looks like it's letterboxed. So let's bump it.
What on earth?
Okay, new background. What shall it be? What do I have? With this beer. Works for me. Kurt? Correct.
What on earth are you saying? If you were to say that to one of these people,
Real mad?
who would say that to one of these people who is like, yes, freedom must be fought for. And what they'll do after that, if you say they are free, they'll say, well, but are they truly free? What is freedom? I'm using it poetically. Or many of them have the audacity to say, well, they're not free if they're in prison. Well, how do you think they got there?
And then like that. And you're gonna do expo out, and you're gonna change that actually to elastic and like that.
How do you think they got there? You think we just teleported there because racism? Fucking unreal. Check your dreadlock privilege, woman.
Let's put our minds together. Our minds together.
Dreadlock privilege, woman.
Let us put our minds.
Okay, there's some sloppy stuff there. Those two guys got to go.
Privilege, woman.
Let us put our minds together to see what kind of future we can make for our children.
Well, he didn't say it like that. He said, well, he didn't say it like that. He said, let us put our minds together to see what kind of, hold on, let me get some Indian drumming. Right.
Okay, let me find some Indian drumming. Do I have any? Drum. No, come on, man. Native? I know I have it. I have it. Must have it. Oh, Jesus. Tribal? Well, they're going to make me search for it. That's a video that a guy did who said I inspired him to make videos. Watch this. It's good. I like it. Messy, that was an unbelievable run he went on. I mean, he brings joy to people. Ask Gad Sad what he thinks about Messi. It's incredible. Now, bring those drummers in. Let's see.
Hold on, let me get some Indian drumming right now. Oh, the funkiness of the...
Okay. You gotta calm it down. You know, it's too loud.
Inspires me to finish sentence.
It's even too loud there. Subtle.
What kind of future we can make for our children.
Now I'm blocking the... this is problematic. I'm gonna bring it on top. I'm gonna shrink it down.
Inspires me to finish sentence. What kind of future we can make for our children. Yeah, I try to not take my advice from grown men in pigtails.
I probably should get the second pigtail.
To not take my advice from grown men in...
I will kill it there.
Pigtails. But you are rocking that feather, Sitting Bull. So, thumbs up for that. And that is a lovely blouse that you're wearing, sir. Good job avoiding the smallpox. Nothing about me is small. Paleface. I am Big Pox. That is my rap name. I go to local casino and rap under the moniker of Big Pox. The fuck?
All right.
Spiritual practice is to the individual.
That sounded like a whole bunch of woo.
Let me drop back on that opal.
That sounded like a whole bunch of woo-woo, and that will go straight over your head. And the reason it does is because it means nothing.
Community is to the collective as spiritual practice is to the individual.
Building community is... Community. Building community is to the collective as spiritual practice is to the individual. What? Read it again. Think of that twice. Still means nothing. Now, when somebody's confronted with a sentence like that, and it's written down, it's in quotes, what people tend to do is Now, when somebody's confronted with a sentence like that, and it's written down, it's in quotes, what people tend to do is not speak up and say, wait a minute, I call bullshit, that meant diddly dick. Because they fear, oh, wait a minute, maybe I'm not getting it. Maybe it's just above my pay grade. No, that is woo-woo. And don't you think it would help their cause if this wasn't such an obvious attempt for people like Opal to generate self-esteem and to empower themselves strictly through race? So she didn't go to a white person here, she went to an Indian, so she's willing to tap into the spiritual wisdom of Mr. Pigtails.
I'm going to put in, well,
Opal to generate obvious attempt for people like Opal to generate self-esteem and to empower attempt for people like Opal to generate self-esteem and to empower themselves strictly through race. So she didn't go to a white person here, she went to an Indian, so she's willing to tap into the spiritual wisdom of Mr. Pigtails. But you telling me you couldn't find one goddamn quote from a white guy? I mean, they avoid white men like the plague. And by the way, the plague was called the Black Plague. So thanks for that, blacks.
Second, for racial justice with an intersectional lens. Lens.
Oh, goody, goody gumdrops. Intersectional. So now what? Now we get to talk about genders and dicks being cut off and trans, faggot, gay, lesbian, queer. Dude, it's too much. I can't handle this. I need to first focus on your racism before you unload all the sexual freakery upon me. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Oh, Lord, I love Eurovision.
We will center and show up black, brown.
What? No, I'm not showing up for that. What? No, I'm not showing up for that. I turned down for that. Turned down for zits. I don't even know what turned down for what means. I'm just, it was in my brain. It felt right. I'm against that. I'm against that image. I can tell you that.
Black, brown. Muslim, immigrant.
Oh, sit tight, white guys. We're coming. Sit tight, white guys. We're coming. She's saving the best for last here.
LGBT. LGBTQ.
What are you telling me? You're telling me this freaking gay angel is going to get a mention and no white guys are going to get a mention. Here we go.
This popcorn is stale. It's disgusting, actually. I don't know why I'm eating it. Gonna open my Photoshop, see if I can have a better PNG of the guy. Guy cometh. Okay. So, what's it? There it is. I rounded out his shoulder. Bring him in. Make it happen.
And poor communities.
Wait, is this us? Does not count as a white guy? That's not a white guy.
Zoom in.
It's from freaking El Salvador.
Okay, we're instantly bringing him in. And let's try elastic. No, cannot. Okay, we'll try out. See what that does.
That guy's from freaking El Salvador. There's no evidence.
Doesn't appear to have done. Oh yeah.
El Salvador. There's no evidence in the picture that would determine the nation of origin. So to make a claim like that, that's based on conjecture, and I won't have it.
And we will.
Wait, we're out. There's. Wait, we're out. There's no white people in the world. God damn it! She is a humanist minus whites.
And we will defend ourselves from. We will defend ourselves from. We will defend ourselves from fascism, violence, rhetoric, and policies that harm us. We will defend ourselves from fascism, violence, rhetoric, and policies that harm us.
Well, that's a bold.
See if there's any art pieces from this dude. I think there's some like raunchy nudes in here. Ooh, that's pretty. Little alleyway encounter there. Down with that. It's like an art exhibit. Let's bring in and we'll do a maybe hue and saturation. Colorize. I'm feeling you, D-bone. Okay, so then once you get to that basic level, then you bring in the curves. And once you have those curvies, you can change it to, say, the blue. Specify what you want. See what the green's up to. Oh, I'm freaking it. Getting freaky with it. It's too much. And then come back to the yeah, there we go. Talk to me.
Well, that's a bold statement. Wait a minute. What?
Now I'm gonna scale this up and position it, and we're gonna get a close up of that scene there. And I'm going to try to attach this to that motion. And then, so I'm scaling with the picture, but then I'm also going to move it independently. Because I'm in the foreground, it doesn't make sense to move at the same rate. So if you tie it together, but then you also move it like that, then it'll have more of a 3D effect.
See? That harm us.
Well, that's a bold statement. Wait a minute. What did you just insert into that? Rhetoric that harms us? Opal, have you ever heard of sticks and stones may break my bones, but rhetoric will never hurt me? I love that. She's like, we are against fascism, violence, and policies that will harm us. Also, words.
Now I feel, here's what you can do. Yummy. My tummy tum. So what you're going to do is reverse him. And you're going to shrink him down. And what you can do is you go to the effects panel and you can copy both of these effects. Just copy it and slap it on him. Boom. Booyah. And let's put a blur on him as well. Gaussian blur to be more specificioso. And we're going to creep him up slowly. But from right here, we're going to lock him onto the same one below. So, yeah, but then we're going to animate him like that. And we'll do an ease out. Yeah.
Violence and policies that will harm us. Also, words. And what a bold statement. This is up there with Princess Diana taking a stand against landmines. Hey, Opal, maybe the problem is what you determine is fascistic. And maybe the other problem is that Black Lives Matter blatantly incites violence. So you're kind of contradicting yourself there, but...
And then you create another layer here. You're going to move them to there, but you're going to change the thing to ease in. Not expo, more like court. There you go.
The other problem is that Black Lives Matter blatantly incites violence. So you're kind of contradicting yourself there, but carry on.
Third, we'll resist corporate takeovers of Mother Earth.
See, what that is, you know, people like the nerd voice, so I don't give it to them every time. I show them the picture, like a Pavlovian dog, get them salivating. Because I think the nerd voice comes back. Well, that's why less is more. Feel me? Recognize.
Mother Earth and what is sacred.
Yeah, we're...
Okay, gotta remove all this. And let's see, let's get some more art. This guy's into nudity. That's pretty. I like it. Let's bring it on in. Happening very fast, all of this stuff, if you notice. We're going to scale. And we're going to bring my character in, which will be a t-shirt. There you go. And I'm going to blur him out. First of all, I'm going to try to desaturate. I used to do this stuff all the time with, yeah, like that. And you go to hue saturation. You're going to take away the saturation to match this. And then there's more reds in that thing. You see mine's kind of cold. To change that, you change from RGB to reds. Bump the reds up. You see that? Then let's play with the overall RGB. So I got a few brights. I'll probably take it down a bit. Yeah. More like a dark, the light source coming from there. That's better. And then I'm going to attach this to the motion already there. Something like that.
What is sacred?
Yeah, we're going to resist corporate takeovers of Mother Earth. What kind of childish fairy tale is this? This sounds like the plot line for a My Little Pony episode. Yeah, we're going to tweet about it. Hey, ExxonMobil, suck on this tweet. Send.
And the sovereignty of Native people.
What?
Okay, let us freeze frame that. It's coming with Satan, yeah.
Of Native people.
What do you have with the Native Americans? The sovereignty of them. What, you want them to secede from the Union? God, Jesus. What is up your ass with these people? I'm definitely.
Okay, maybe flip him. There he is. Let's see if we can't. Let's see what a bounce looks like. Sometimes you change it to bounce, and you go out, and let's see what it does.
What is up your ass with these people? I'm definitely the Lakota are actually on side.
That's terrible. Let's do back.
With these people. I'm definitely the Lakota are actually on sovereign land. It's a misnomer for you to portray that the Native Americans are part of the Union. It's a mischaracterization of the facts, sir.
Like the water protection.
Water protectors. I love how people are still going with that. Water protectors. Very convincing. I've used all these. All right, I'll bring in something new.
In Flint.
Our kin in Flint. What is this, other black kin? I mean, what are they doing in Flint? How normal does it look like for a black guy to just be in snow? I see it out here in Germany. These immigrants, these like North African dudes wandering around, they're more ill-equipped for winter than I am. It just doesn't make sense. It's like a black guy in water. It's like throwing a kitten in water. That's about as natural of a fit that. I'm kidding. Oh, they're.
Okay. Now you come in with
Oh, there are black swimmers. Oh, sensitive. Actually, I can't think of a single black swimmer, so I take that back. There are 0.
Fourth, we must perfect Fourth, we must perfect the art of organizing people, in person and in.
All right, we're gonna go here, kill, kill, kill. If you guys all don't know After Effects by now.
Fourth, we must perfect the art of organizing people, in person and in public spaces. If you aren't organized, find your people.
Find your people. Now I want more art. Interesting. I appreciate his use of color. Nice. Sufficiently freaky. This will be a fun challenge. Let's try to make my guy fit into that. So what you do is you simply bring it in. Looks like something out of Blade Runner, even though I haven't seen it. So I could scale this down, rotate it, and then you put a you shut it off. See what I'm saying? You come around here like this. Come along now, come along with me, and I'll ease your pain. Come along now, come along with me. I'm gonna set that to around, I'd say 4 feather. And you say, Devin, it doesn't look remotely convincing. And I say, fuck you, get out of my living room. And you say, make me. And I say, I will. Okay, so what you do, you start with a blur, and you're gonna try to blur it to match. Around there. Then I'm gonna come in with the hue, and I'm desaturating. Yes. And then I'm gonna come in with the curves. I'm gonna try to match up on the colors. Actually, the brightness too. So we're gonna, I'd say, add some of that. A bit like that. You don't want the darks to be too dark. And I'm feeling like some green needs to be up in it. Yeah, look at that green. And let's see what the blues are up to.
Find my people. Okay, based on what she's saying, like she.
Okay, so we're gonna match this to this, and we're gonna scale this.
Find your people.
Find my people. Okay, based on what she's saying, like she's like, we must go to our ancestors and go to the kin in Michigan. What she means is find your people, find your race. Hey, where are the white people at? Well, I'm in Germany, so I found my people, even though they're not my people. These people are Neanderthals. They come from different bloodlines. Now, I've snatched one of them up and I'm trying to mix those bloodlines. I'm doing my part. But what she's suggesting is for everybody to go into their camps. Hey, white people, go to college, study white history.
That was an autosave.
History, not African American studies, European American studies. Hang out with white people, organize white people. Hooray for us, white people über alles.
Fifth,
0.5.
have been threatened.
No, just don't assemble on a highway.
Okay, that is room for new art. Let's see what we got. Too risky. Risque. That's cool. Something out of the 80s. Loving that. This would be a challenge. I don't even know how I would do this, but let's see. I'm gonna give it a shot because I'm dorky like that. Okay, so what we're doing here is scaling down. You scale it down, and you want to get the heads in there. So you bring it down like that. Yes. And you're gonna bring in anime. And you're gonna scale this down. Right there. And so we're going to start with Gazi Kodzo. And when the blurs, what you can do is you could direct people to wherever you want. So you fake what your eyes would do if you were to focus on this dude in the background, which is the focal point of the shot. And you can guide their eyes, so you could focus here and then back there. A little bit tricky when you have a still image, but when you have control over all the elements, you can do that. Now, how do I make this black? Well, you could do, I don't know. You'd have to make it up. Now, what is that? There's a thing called glow. It's probably a good way to do this. Actually, okay, so then go to the hue, saturation, and we're going to go to curves. You come with the blues. Drop those reds out. Yeah, I think there's a glow feature. Where is that? There's got to be a way. AMP colors, no. Color alpha channels, that's better. It's not exactly what I'm looking for. Color A, so you could sample some of these colors here. I picked up a green, that was weird. For yellows. Not convincing in the slightest. This is going to piss me off. Well, yeah, it's pissed me off. So it's not good. So I will not use it because it would take a long time to perfect that, and there's no point in the end. No point. But you get the idea that you can do so much with this if you have time and motivation / what translation means if you have money. Somebody's paying you, you'll be like, oh yeah, man, this is a powerful tool. And I'm going to do the same thing as I did last time, which is to animate myself on top of that. So I'm going
to... no, just don't assemble on a highway. You can't do that. Don't assemble and stop the gay pride parade in Toronto. Opal. Doesn't she seem dopey? She seems like she's drugged.
So one of the things here, you see that my blacks are black and her dark shadows are blue. As you could go into the blue and I want my shadows to be bluer. Well, that's not working for me. Basically, you can match it up. You match it to what you're seeing there, theoretically. Oh, wait a minute. I think it's there's another one. Fuck, what is it? It's been a while for me here, folks. Color correction. That's nothing. What's that? Color correction. Color balance. Yes. Shadow. Midtone. Shadow blue balance. So pointless. It's really interesting though. Like sometimes I'm interested in how people like will get. Maybe the green's gotta go. But like this level of detail, which is granted serves absolutely 0 point in this context, and that's more like it. It's more green. That was the issue. This level of obsession, it actually can end up being something really cool. Like a guy like Quentin Tarantino will obsess on every frame, and so if you just took it out of context, it's like, what are you doing, man? But like if you put it together in some sort of purposeful way, I'm not saying that this is that, but I'm saying that many times I think artistic endeavors can be viewed as a total waste of time. And it's interesting that you sort of walk that line.
Organizers have been jailed.
Okay. Is there any organization on the left that has come out against Black Lives Matter? Is that possible? I've seen the right do it, and I hates to be the one to break it to the people on the left, but the right are right.
Dropped.
And we are living under extreme surveillance and
Freeze that one.
There you go. Count them. Let's count the white people. White men get featured in the video, and look at them. They're the police state. They are the stormtroopers. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 even in the back. White people. White male. Fucking white men. Arrest that dude for loitering. And arrest him for public indecency for being black in public. And he's got a beanie on, so he's basically about to rob someplace. I wonder why those cops have to wear body armor like that. Probably a preventative measure. Probably no real practical reason why they actually need to wear that.
we must on and offline.
What do you mean secure our security? We need more hacking defense. I've assembled a team of people, some of the best people in the world, incredible. If these hacking geniuses that I've assembled had a TV show, it would get great ratings. Some of the best. We need online security because once we have that hacking defense, we are going to win. Again, do you hear me? Winning at hacking.
And then I think I'm going to try to get crazy with it. Not so crazy, but so what you do is you extend this to 19 minutes. And then you're going to come in here. You got to select everything above that line up to there. Just drag it out of there. And you're going to bring in a video. And it's a video from 1984. And that's the one. What's going on here?
Yes, there it is.
That's a British accent, sped up.
Very good connection here with the modem. Just stuff that really firmly in. Yes, there it is. Now, we've got to make a very good connection here with the modem. Just stuff that really firmly in there, like so. Tell our little computer here that we're on term, so it's now talking directly to the computer in London. And wait for something to happen. Yes, there goes the cursor now, flashing across the screen. And voila, this is Prestel. Wonders will never cease. Now, what it wants from now is my account number, which is a 10-digit number, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, otherwise you'll copy it.
Okay, save that, bring it back, and you're gonna move it up.
Computer in London, and wait for something to happen. Yes, there goes the cursor now, flashing across the screen.
Okay, and you're gonna come in and you're gonna say worst hacking defense ever. And you're going to put a drop shadow on it, increase that, and soften it a bit. There you go.
Yes, there goes the cursor now, flashing across the screen. And voila. This is Prestel. Wonders will never cease. Now, what it wants from me now is my account number. Our little computer here that we're on term, so it's now talking directly to the computer in London. And wait for something to happen. Voila. This is and voila. This is and voila. This is Prestel. Wonders will never cease. Now, what it wants from me now is my account number, which is a 10-digit number, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, otherwise you'll copy it.
Okay, so then we're going to grab that all the way back to there, I guess, and drag it all back there. And we'll see how it works.
If you're white, your work is to organize other white. If you're white, your work is to organize other white people to donate and challenge white supremacy.
Oh my.
Okay, you are. Tricky. Pretty. It's very distinctive style. Very dark. Because any of these shots are from the day. There we go. Healing. Bring it. Import the new one. Hey, yeah, we'll start it big. Move it smaller. And we're going to bring in angered. We'll go same size as her. And we shall run the gauntlet here and blurring and that's probably cheating. And and you match it.
White supremacy.
Oh my dear Lord. If you're white, okay, so you're talking to me now? Oh, okay, so this is now it's personal? Gotcha. My job is to do what now? Come again? What? No, my job is to slap those fucking earrings off you. Metaphorically, I would never raise a hand to a beautiful black queen goddess like this. And coming in, wait, organize other white people to raise money and fight white supremacy. You are swinging for the fences, milady. A tip of the foot. Even suggesting that. Hey, black people, why don't you organize the other blacks, put a bunch of money together, and fight black? Fight black power movements for me. Could you do that? Thanks. Opal, I don't want to get crude here. I honestly want to speak from my heart. I want to work together because you're a fellow citizen of my country. Suck my white dick and shut your fucking mouth.
And if you find yourself in melanin space, and if you find yourself in melanin spaces,
No. I'm pausing now because I refuse to accept that as vernacular. And fuck vernaculus, that lazy-eyed, dorky little field mouse. Melanin spaces. Okay, well, we got to come up with a term for white spaces. Okay, we need a new way of talking about white spaces. Safe zones, Whole Foods parking lot, the fatherland, correct grammar zones, Freckleville. I don't know. Please think about that and leave a comment.
Learn to take direction from us.
I'm back. It's nice. I'd have that on my wall. This guy's got skills.
Direction from us.
Learn, please. Update yourself. Could you please download the latest driver on how to listen to us? Take direction from us. Hey, Opal. No. How about that? Opal, it's no. That's the answer. Okay, good try. I'm not doing that.
We'll show you and how we need your support.
And yeah, thank you for the eyeball flex again.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, thank you for the eyeball flex again. Just it's almost like she's pumping some sort of a mind control laser beam into our brain with that eyeball. Just it's almost like she's. Thank you for the eyeball flex again. Just it's almost like she's. It's almost like she's pumping. Almost like she's pumping some sort of a mind control laser beam into our brain with that eyeball. Just that eyeball. Just our brain with that eyeball. Just dear white people, take direction from the blacks when you find yourself in melanin. Dear white people, take direction from the blacks when you find yourself in melanin spaces. White people, you've had a run at controlling things and telling others what to do. It's time for you to things and telling others what to do. It's time for you to shut up, raise money for us, then take direction from us, okay? Just let me and some of my black ancestors and Sitting Bull and Aunt Jemima and all the rest, we're gonna run the show now.
We
Wow, I'm gonna extend the time.
multiracial democracy that embraces the fullness of our spirits and human experience.
And that was pointless. Was written down with a bunch of buzzwords. Wait, multiracial democracy. That was written down with a bunch of buzzwords. Wait, multiracial democracy. What do you think we have? Who do you think this dude is?
All right, I don't usually do these videos. I don't
Who do you think this dude is? Who do you think the voters of this country are? That was totally redundant what you just said. Fully embrace the spirit of it. Get out. And I like how she says multi. Get out. And I like how she says multiracial at the end. Like, whites still don't get a mention. Unless it's, hey, white people, bend the knee, pay us. And she throws on a smile at the end, like, ting, yay, look, it's a happy message from a. At the end, like, ting, us. And she throws on a smile at the end, like, ting, yay, look, it's a happy message from a racist. Wow, this dot mic thing. They are a real gem. Just helpful. Thank you. Thank you for saving the world from white men. You know what's great about this, though? I think they think this works. Thanks for saving the world from white men. You know what's great about this, though? I think they think this works. To their audience, this is like candy. This goes down easy. Just a spoonful of racism makes the medicine go down in the most obnoxious way. Boom, boom. Boom.
And we shall got an individual chatting at me. Gotta fix this one day. That's fine. Fuck it. Scale it.
The most obnoxious way. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Obnoxious way. Boom, boom.
"17 minutes. Elapsed time. Start the render. Chat with the chat. Check out a trailer. It's guys talking about wanting to chat. All right. Commence the render. The render is upon us. Okay. Oh god, I do have to get back to that one. Okay. There's going to be a guy coming on to chat. I told him I was going to chat on Thursday apparently, so we're going to be chatting. In the meantime, I'll get back to my right.
She's an amazing actress. She's an amazing artist in her realm, and I just think it's you could sort of say that without disparaging what other people enjoy, and including disparaging like and foreigners. Like one of the things you were saying is that Hollywood's crawling with foreigners. If you take them out, all you have left is MMA and football, and MMA, mixed martial arts, not the arts. But you wouldn't. That's not true. %80 of the fighters in the UFC are from other countries.
Yep.
They're from Ireland, like Conor McGregor. They're from Brazil, like Amanda Nunes. I mean, this is like an incredibly diverse lineup of people from all over the world. So for her to say that is like so silly. But I can understand saying that you don't think it's an art by your interpretation. I understand that.
But the larger point is that humans are silly.
Yes,
right? Humans
sure.
Humans
sure.
in right? Humans
Yes.
right? Humans
Sure.
right?
Yes.
Humans right?
Yes.
Right? Humans
Sure.
in general are silly, and we're not individually that smart.
I think performance arts, like as far as dance, I mean, dance is clearly an art, right? If you watch Mikhail Bursch.
Dance is an art. Thank you, Joe.
Right. If you watch right. If you watch right. If you watch Mikhail right. If you watch right. If you watch Mikhail Baryshnikov, that's clearly art. And I think in many ways in performance, like gymnastics is also an art. We don't think of it as an art, we think of it as a sport. But when you look
Then why do they give artistic scores?
at the ability to execute these spectacular moves, maybe they're not doing it to a concerto.
They actually do it to music and floor routines.
but it's still art, you know.
Yeah.
Like you see some amazing gymnast fly through the air and nail a landing. It's beautiful. It's
Fun fact: Joe Rogan is smaller than Mary Lou Retton.
glorious. Well, that's art in competition, but it's not one-on-one competition. Now, art in one-on-one competition is Edson Barboza wheel-kicking Terry Edom. I know it doesn't look like art to some people.
God, they're taking this so literally. Meryl Streep was using it as a word pun because it had the word arts in it. I don't think she's trying to disparage cage fighting.
But to me, it does.
Well, and it's a technically extremely difficult move. It's
Incredibly
taken a lot of
difficult to
time
do.
to practice
Yeah.
and get good at.
Yeah.
So it's just the fact that when he does his beautiful pirouette, it just lands in someone's face.
Well, someone has to suffer. Someone has to suffer, and perhaps sometimes both people have to suffer. in terms of a very brutal.
I like that.
One has to suffer, and perhaps sometimes both people have to suffer. To suffer. In terms of a very brutal fight.
Right.
But if you look.
Right.
But if you look at like a.
Right.
But if you look.
Right.
But if you look.
Right.
But if you look at Amanda Nunes' knockout of Ronda Rousey, if you're an Amanda Nunes fan, that is a beautiful work of art.
Yeah.
I think we're obsessing a little bit too much on the word art and what classifies as art and what is the point of this. And clearly there are major differences between fighting and other forms of art.
But she didn't get any promotion for that fight.
And now, look at Joe Rogan's mind. He's like, art. So, you know, sometimes when Amanda Nunes knocking out Ronda Rousey, that was art. And by the way, the promotion of that fight, now we're on to that topic.
She was looked at like cannon fodder to go in there and fight Rousey. A lot of people were predicting a first-round victory, and she went out there and fucked her up in 48 seconds. That's art to some people. You know, it might not be to her, but...
Well, but also, I mean, this comes down to, you know, liberals, right? So...
one bad point after another.
Right? So... Right? So, in general, liberals massively overfavor the notion of caring. That's like their big moral intuition, right? So they...
What does this guy think he is?
Intuition, right? So... Right? So they... Right? So they care about the environment, right? They care...
Jesus.
Right? They care about protecting children, toddlers from dangerous guns, right?
When this guy sees this,
Right?
is he going to change?
They just sort of, everything is interpreted through caring and wanting to protect. So understandably, when they look at an MMA fight, they're like, oh, that's bad because there's not caring and people are getting hurt, right? They're getting their feelings hurt. Right? They're getting their right? Right? They're getting their right? They're getting right? They're getting their feelings hurt. And so when Jordan on here and he's talking about how it's this very sort of maternal thing, it is a very maternal thing. And the problem is that, you know, what ends up happening is that when,
Hey man, are you going to call in and talk or what? What's happening?
when you have an echo chamber like college campuses, which are incredibly liberal with very few outside opinions, that's the rabbit hole that they go down. They go down the caring rabbit hole. And when you go down the caring rabbit hole, you end up at Marxism. And, you know, when you're surrounded by people who essentially think like you, there's nothing to like sit you down and be like, that's fucking
Like,
nuts. Like, let's talk about
Why do
it.
you think, though, that is? Why do you think going down the caring rabbit hole leads you to Marxism?
Well, because, you know, you don't want anyone's feelings to get hurt. You want everybody to have enough. You know, you want to share. And it's important to realize, back to your point where you said, like, you know, if it was the
Mike. Hello?
Hey, what's up, Devin?
What up, man? How's it going?
I'm just fixing my sound settings so you don't get any feedback.
Okay. So
if it was the three of us, communism
All right,
might
it's
work,
fixed now.
right?
Not much. Rough day at work, learning a new technology.
What tech?
Angular 2 with Node.js.
Right?
What is that?
I'm a software engineer.
Right?
Do you wear glasses?
No, I got LASIK.
Oh, tell me about that. I was thinking about getting some.
It's if I had the choice between going back to having my old vision and having to go through LASIK again, I would do it. I would do this shit every 6 months if I had to.
Really?
But it lasts a really long time, so it's super easy. How
bad was your vision before?
In one eye I was 20/40, and the other eye was about 20/60 or 20/70. I had an astigmatism in one eye, and I was nearsighted in the other. So I had to pay for the LASIK that is machine controlled instead of them hand doing it, which isn't a big deal because you get better results anyway. It's a little more expensive.
Was it like are we talking $1,000 an eye or a couple thousand?
I paid $1,400 per eye.
Okay, but the results are how?
I see 20/15 now. I can see at night. I don't have any of the halo or loss of night vision. And
2015 is worse or better than 2020?
Better. It means you can see things at 20 feet that people normally have to be 15 feet away.
And so now, how do you notice it in your life? Like, are you just so used to it now that you don't even realize how good it is?
I'm used to it now, but I used to like pretty much just sleep with my glasses on all the time.
Why?
It's a lot better.
But
yeah, it's I can tell you about the process. It's super easy.
Well, what's the point of sleeping with your glasses on?
Because I would just fall asleep. Because I'm also the guy who's emailed you before. I have the blood vessel condition that caused my leg to amputate.
Oh, Jesus.
So since I have those external blood vessels and I lose blood from those all the time, I just fall asleep from just loss of blood.
Wait a minute. You don't have a leg or both legs? I'm
missing my right leg completely. It's cut off, at the hip, no femur.
Can't you just get that LASIK'd back on?
No. They cut it off when the Challenger exploded.
86?
Yeah.
Christ.
I was 10 days old.
Jesus. So
yeah, my grandfather had a rough day since he was the head of audio and visuals for NASA, and he knew all the astronauts.
Wait a minute. So when you had 10 days with 2 legs?
Yeah.
And you didn't even know how to walk. You crawled that whole time.
Yeah, so even if they somehow tried to, attach one to me, my brain wouldn't know how to use it because it doesn't have the neural mappings for it.
So why don't you rock like a Blade Runner situation and compete in the Olympics?
It's like I'm on painkillers because it is very painful still. I still have the blood vessel condition, and it is extremely painful. So imagine I have like about 10 times the blood vessels that you would normally have.
Right.
In that condensed, stump area where my leg is.
And what does that do? It's just sensitive or bruises?
A large impact can actually put me in the hospital from internal bleeding.
And so isn't there a story about that? Like the girl who her blood didn't clot, and so you had to be really careful?
No, I'm not a hemophiliac. My platelets are fine. If I had that problem, I would probably be dead.
God damn it. So have you asked why you? Why did God punish you?
No.
Did you do something in a previous life, or?
I doubt it.
This is messed up, man. But do you wear an attachment piece? Is there possible, or?
I have a prosthetic that I wear for like wedding ceremonies or something like that.
Uh-huh. And
I just got it like a year and a half ago.
How do you get around? Use rascal?
I use crutches.
Damn it! That's the technology we have?
Well, the problem with prosthetics is if you have like some of your femur area left, they have really good prosthetics. But if you have no femur, it's not that great. But
oh, you have no femur?
Yeah, no femur at all. It's cut at the hip. They tried to cut as much of it as they could, and then they cut me as an infant during the same amputation
Right.
from the top of my neck down to the bottom of my abdomen and scraped out internally as much as they could.
Do you ever talk to like war veterans, dudes who are new to having less than 4 limbs?
I've volunteered at a couple of VFWs to like fix their internet and shit,
Mm.
and hook them up with like Netflix and stuff like that.
Because you're like
But
a true blood amputee, whereas these guys are don't know what the hell they're doing.
well, when I was born, my leg was it weighed 4 pounds. So when they amputated it, I weighed a total of 9 pounds. So I weighed 13 pounds at birth. They thought it was a twin
Wow. So
because I'm one of those German twinning families.
so when you are at a bar and you're picking up girls, do you say that you're a tripod?
I've been asked that before.
Golly. But I mean, you can move pretty fast with
I used to play hockey, soccer, baseball, things like that when I was younger,
I'm just
with the
thinking,
crutches.
yeah, you're probably pretty skilled with it and it doesn't hurt the armpit though. Do you have like a nice cushion on that?
What it is after you've used it for so long, the nerves are dead.
Oh shit.
But
So you're dead inside and outside.
nah. I mean, you have dead tissue all over your body anyway. I mean, the outermost layer of your skin and your fingernails and your hair is dead.
Did you pick up on drugs and alcohol to compensate for the rage you had against the universe?
I never really had rage against the universe. You understand, Evan, I was raised by a traditionally German family in New Orleans, and they purposely made my life harder so I could cope with the disease easier.
So they were like, "You're not special. I'll give you something to cry about."
Yeah, pretty much. Like, if I was crying about something, I would get hit. If my brother, who was 5 years older, had he had 2 legs, and when he picked on me, they said hit him back.
Mm-hmm. I have a fan I just talked to. He's up in Canada. He has one arm. And he's about to get married. He's doing really well in life. He's getting promoted to like run a company. And I was asking him some questions about it. It is interesting, but it's so normal. It's like when people ask me what it's like to not have a mother, and my answer is just like, isn't that what happens to everybody? I thought because it's just normal for me. So
yeah, like I don't understand how you guys all walk. Like when I was learning to use the prosthetic, and I still have this issue where I'm leaning forward and I need to, just expect the prosthetic to take my weight. Mm-hmm. And my brain sends the signal that I'm falling because usually when I'm leaning forward, my weight is on my hands and I have no weight on my hands.
Yeah, tell me about falling actually. Tell me about some of your classic wipeouts.
The only time I ever really wipe out is when the ground moves from beneath me.
Earthquake?
So like if I'm on like a sand or something. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I have friends that comment that I never fall down. I've had friends try to get me drunk to the point where I'd fall down and I won't.
I've seen dudes on one leg, in fighting in the UFC where a wrestler has picked up one of their legs and they got to like hop around and it's kind of amazing how they stay up. So perhaps your balance has been evolved, sharpened because of this. Like, what are your superpowers?
I would say I have really good balance, and because I walk on the crutches, for my weight, I have pretty strong upper body strength.
How about using the crutches as weapon?
Oh yeah, I've done that. You know how crutches, how they just have the little dots in the middle you push in to adjust them now? Mm-hmm. Before that, they used to have bolts, 2 bolts that went through them with wing nuts, and I've caught somebody in the face with one of those before.
Nice. Yeah, you should probably get a custom job and just have, little blades pop out, or definitely a smoke screen device where you could just like poof and evacuate if you need to.
Yeah, but I go to airports, so
nobody messes with you, right? Like, is it a situation of don't punch down? Do you ever take offense by that?
No, I almost got in a fight because of your white male T-shirt on Halloween.
Nice. What happened?
Yeah, I live in New Orleans, and nobody gave me an issue. But when my friend and I were walking back to the car, this guy was like, "Oh, what's that supposed to mean?" I'm like, "Oh, nothing, dude. I'm just a white guy."
Yeah.
And he's like, "It doesn't have any hidden meaning." And then his boys just started laughing at him and making fun of him, and he let me go. And as I walked away, I'm just like, "Nah, bro, your life matters." I just walked off.
Oh, some black guy?
Yeah.
Wow. So what do you prefer to be referenced as if people need to talk about your disability, or what is it? What do you call it?
It's KTW.
What's that?
It's Kyphopulmonary Weber syndrome, but if you Google KTW syndrome, you'll be able to find it. And if you go to image search, it'll be absolutely disgusting.
Okay, but I'm talking about like common words to describe you, which do you prefer? Which do you take offense? So if somebody said you're handicapped, would you be like, what? No, I'm not.
I don't really take offense to anything, and I'm always actually I like it when I hear something I haven't heard in 31 years.
Mm-hmm. So what are the ones that that show you respect? And I mean, or do you find that people are awkward around you?
I find that I end up having a large personal bubble when I have the crutches, but when I'm wearing a prosthetic, it seems like that unconscious personal bubble disappears.
What kind of bubble?
For instance, like if I'm on bars, like I end up getting numbers a lot easier and hit on a lot more if I'm wearing a prosthetic.
Interesting. Yeah.
Whereas it seems to be a large, wider personal bubble, people tend to be too intimidated to approach me. Things like that are just concerned to approach me.
Right. You're different.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. What other problems do you have?
I mean, besides that, the complications from the disease where the blood vessels are external from my skin. And then,
what does it look like?
do you know what a hemangioma is?
Sounds intense.
It's imagine like a birthmark. What a birthmark is like a port wine stain. Like you remember the port wine stain on Gorbachev's head?
Yep.
Imagine a larger like blotch of purple on the skin, and then like these ridges of red moles that stick out of it. Those are hemangiomas, and those will open up and bleed. So when you have an open port to your bloodstream, you're constantly fighting bacterial and viral infections.
Man, you're turning me on with this talk. How do you, would you put a tattoo over that? What can we do with this? Can we?
You can't tattoo any of your skin when you have KTW.
Okay, so
it's a huge infection risk and a poisoning risk.
What do you do with it? You just like put cream on it? Or?
Well, what I'm doing right now is I've had a dermatologist do it in New Orleans to one section of my skin, where what they'll do is they'll take a laser and they'll scarify the tissue over and over again until you've built up enough layers of scar tissue the way the blood vessels can't grow through them anymore because that scar tissue is denser than the normal skin. But the problem I'm having now is the area where they have to do it next on the stump is so sensitive that I need to be put under, but no one's willing to do it because it takes a general surgeon or a plastic surgeon to do it. And everyone that I talk to just doesn't have the confidence or doesn't trust me enough, because if you keep doing a repeat surgery on the same area, it comes out that the previous surgery fails. So it can open them up to malpractice lawsuits.
Right. It's a dangerous thing, but man, so you live in constant pain, or what's the daily pain threshold like?
I have the pretty high pain threshold, but there's days that are much worse, and on the much worse days, they gave me narcotics to deal with it.
Yeah. And does this obviously it affects your mobility, but your desire to get outside and to be mobile and active? In other words, do you live a more stagnant lifestyle?
It's up and down. Like, it depends on how I'm feeling on any given day, and a problem is the more active I am, the more blood I lose.
Have you ever gone skiing?
I've never really been in any like significant snow.
Mm-hmm. How has this affected your social, romantic life?
Not very much.
I guess we'll never know, but
like I'm doing better than Alan, the guy from Sweden, the brown guy.
Oh yeah, well, I mean he's setting the bar low. Yeah. So you're not. I mean, you seem to have a good head on your shoulders, aside from the LASIK. And it hasn't affected you. I wonder why. Your parents probably have a lot to do with that.
Oh yeah, they pretty much they made it more, like I told you, they made it more difficult. They made me do things physically. When I got in fights, they let me fight.
What sucks for you is that it would be one thing if it was just your leg was gone, but it's the condition you have, it's the blood vessels, and it's the ongoing pain. So it's like the problem is double. It's not just the fact that it's missing.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing is I tend to just fight through it. For instance, it took me 13 years to finish my degree because I would end up going to the hospital, almost dying, having to drop all my classes. Then after that went on over and over again, they took all my scholarships, so I had to work my way through college, things like that.
So what else is happening in your life? I mean, you are more than your leg. So
well, right now I'm working full time again at a software engineering consultancy firm, and pretty much I'm just saving up to buy a house while paying off student loans.
And what part of the world are you in?
New Orleans.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice, man. And how is New Orleans post Katrina? I know it's been a few years, but
A lot of it's been rebuilt, and a lot of the areas that haven't rebuilt were basically slums anyway.
do you attend Mardi Gras?
I after you go to so many, you kind of just stop.
Yeah,
It becomes more of an annoyance
I hear that.
because so much of the city shuts down. Stuff like toilet paper costs $15.
Well, I heard. I mean, you could probably rent out your place, go on Airbnb, and make a bundle if you're close to.
They just passed a shit ton of
Oh, really?
new city ordinances to stop Airbnb because
Why?
there's a segment of the population that's complaining about it.
What?
Yeah, it tends to be people that would side with progressives.
What are they? What is the complaint?
What it is a lot of people started buying houses, fixing them up, and just Airbnb-ing them. Or when people came to go to renew their leases, the landlord said, "Well, we're not going to renew," and then they started doing short-term renting like Airbnb.
Right. So people are getting middlemanned, and they don't like it. And,
Well, not only that, but like people, let's say, that were renting houses for $450 a month or $850 a month. Not only are they getting their places, but what it is with Airbnb, instead of that $850 a month, people are making $2 to $3 grand a month doing it that way to landlords. And
yeah, I can understand it. I mean, but it's such a good website. It's such an effective tool. It's like taxi unions versus Uber drivers, and certain cities are freaking out about that. Certain countries are too. They're not into.
yeah, I
it.
know they just removed it from Austin. You can't use Uber in Austin anymore.
Why? Uber's awesome.
They passed a city ordinance, and you can't do it.
Well, it works great in London and Vegas, and those are the two places I've used it. But I cannot complain. It is fantastic. I mean, taxi guys are so, God damn it. I just feel like they expect you to make them rich every time out, and I don't know. They're just.
What I did because I had to keep flying to New York, and I was staying in Hell's Kitchen next to a hospital there from my surgeries when they had to actually like cut into me and carve a lot of the blood vessels out.
Nasty.
And what I used when I was there was a car service instead of like a yellow cab. And the car service guys were incredibly nice. I mean, I had to pay probably probably double what I would have had to pay, but.
Right. Yeah, it's sometimes I don't want to have a conversation with the driver. Other times I'm open for a little friendly chit chat, but it's like a masseuse. Do you ever get a massage, or is it too painful?
The only time I've ever had a massage was it was kind of a weird situation. My friend passed away, and his wake for his funeral was at a bar that had a swimming pool, and we had a second line and everything. I don't know if you're familiar with a second line is.
What's that?
You know the New Orleans funeral tradition where you have a parade through the streets?
Okay. Yep.
So we did that. The second line ended at the bar, and one of my friends paid the masseuse there to sit there. And here's the funny thing about the wake. It almost turned into an orgy. Huh. But I had a massage there, and the masseuse freaked out over like my shoulders and how tense they are from the crutches.
Yeah, I can imagine. You got your body's compensating for all that strain you put it under.
Yeah.
Well, I guess weddings and funerals are aphrodisiacs, aren't they?
I mean, well, it's just like the amount of alcohol being poured. You know what I mean? We don't really mourn death here as we celebrate the life.
Mm-hmm. I guess just the beginning of life, the end of life. It's sort of so dramatic that people get all biologically inspired to like reproduce. I guess middle of the life, or like nobody gets turned on at bar mitzvahs. Is my point.
Yeah.
But how are you in terms of religion?
I don't really have a defined thing. I would almost maybe say deist.
Whoa.
Maybe.
We got a deist in the house. Wow.
Maybe. Like, I don't want to commit to that, but like I don't believe in any kind of a personal God. I don't think there's something that's looking down from the sky saying, don't put your dick there.
Okay, so then if it's not, does it have a brain? Does it have a mind?
No, the way I would describe it is it's not really a God. What it more or less is you just see a divinity in the laws of physics, because that's what my degree is computer science with a scientific concentration of physics. So you can't break the laws of physics. You know, if you do break it, then there's some other law out there. You haven't figured out the math equation that governs it.
Okay, but why not just call that physics? Why do you have to call that a deity?
It's not a deity.
But you
There's no
said,
worship.
but you said you're a deist.
No, deist, D-E,
Yeah.
not T-H-E.
Right, but a deist believes in a deity, which is a god.
Well, that's why I'm not committing to it. It's hard to describe, but more or less I'm non-religious.
Okay, but I mean, because
sometimes I use the term I'm secular Catholic because I grew up in so many Catholic traditions.
Right.
Like I observe Lent, but I don't observe it to like prove myself to a god. I observe it to test my willpower.
Okay, well, let me ask you some questions. Do you think Jesus Christ existed?
From what I can tell, probably not.
Mm-hmm.
From what I can see in historical records, because there's conflicting records.
Do you think there's life after death?
No.
Do you think there's life before death? No, life before birth.
As in, like when you're a fetus still?
Yeah, reincarnation. No. I mean,
I don't think life starts till you gain consciousness.
So, okay. Do you think that we're going to develop artificial intelligence to the point of consciousness for machines within the next 50 years?
I don't know if the machines themselves would become conscious, but I think we could transfer our consciousness if we use nanobots to convert neurons slowly over time.
So, do you have personal projects that you work on in terms of coding that is different than your work?
Yeah, I make some physics simulation stuff at home because my work stuff tends to be business app.
And do you do that just for the coolness factor, or are you trying to unlock certain pockets of mystery within physics?
Well, for me, it's more personal curiosity. Can I pull this thing off that I've read about? Or can I mimic a scenario that I was thinking about and model it in a virtual universe?
Because do you ever try to think of ways to monetize something like that? Like put it on an app or put it within a context of a game or something?
Well, for me, because it takes up so much time trying to get in contact with doctors right now and just get my shit together.
Right.
It's maybe sometime once I get all, like, because I have other problems. It's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Right.
I could go after self-actualization things after I've fixed all these other problems I have in life.
Would you be willing to travel somewhere in the near future? Like where do you want to go next, or is that not on your radar?
No, I'm saving for a vacation where I plan to go to Iceland, probably Ireland, maybe Germany. Originally, I was going to go to Sweden, Ukraine, and Germany, but I took Sweden off the board in Ukraine after their civil war.
Huh. Well, hopefully things have calmed down there. I'm actually thinking about going to Kiev for the Eurovision.
Yeah, that's where I wanted to go, was Kiev, because a friend's going to come with me, and he wanted to like take a day trip out as far into Chernobyl as he's allowed to go.
Nice. And I was in Iceland last month on a stopover.
Oh, nice.
It was just a stopover.
I plan to go to Reykjavik.
Yeah, it looked nice, and the women there were very compelling looking. I felt like I was in Game of Thrones, and I just walked onto an alien race of people. Yeah,
well, I mean, it is Viking territory.
Well, it is expensive there. I will warn you on that. But it depends on how long you're going to stay. But it's
probably like a week.
Then again, travel is expensive, just period. So it's not like.
Well, that's the thing, is I've been working at finishing my degree while working, through college for 13 years. I feel like it's time for me to actually enjoy myself.
Hell yeah, take a break. How do you deal with the crutches going through security at airports?
I hand it to them because I don't need them to walk. I can use like the front of my foot and the ball of my foot as two separate feet. Wow. And kind of shuffle wherever I need to go. So I just hand it to them. They throw them through the X-way. They wipe them down and check them for bomb residue and things like that.
Sure. You have some Uzi in there.
Well, sometimes there's like oils that are at the bottom that help it slip up and down when you adjust them. Mm-hmm. But, I do that. I shuffle through. The thing that sucked the worst is when I was flying back from New York. Mm-hmm. They had to inspect me to see if I was a human bomb because I had drainage tubes in me still. Yeah. But when they think you might explode, they treat you really nice at TSA.
Wow, a human bomb.
Yeah, because imagine if they put, like, syntax beneath your skin, sure. So they just see these tubes that are draining. And they don't know if that's just draining to keep me from dying until I explode or something.
Twisted, man.
But yeah, I had to empty like some of the I think they're called JP tubes or something like that, and they had to go shove it through some machine that was going to check it.
That's intense.
But here's the best thing: if you're missing a leg and walking on crutches, and you're in security, just fall.
Yeah.
Fall on purpose. You get jump straight to the front of the line.
Wow.
They give you a wheelchair. They wheel you straight to your plane. They'll make the plane wait for you.
Huh. I was listening to Anna Kasparian say that she says that she's pregnant every time she's at an airport, and then she gets the same sort of treatment. Kind of bullshit.
Well, at least I actually do. At least I'm actually missing a leg, unlike her.
Right. I mean,
Anna Kasparian's a joke.
I agree. There's no way that we can let her stand. I have a question for you. How do you dance? What is your style with that?
I actually took for my art elective in college. I took dance. So we did. I think it was jazz, ballet, and modern.
And so, do you innovate your own style? Like, what is the
If you can't do the move, you just adapt it to what your body can do.
Sure.
Like there was plenty of things that I couldn't actually do, but I just did something sort of like it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to imagine the style. How many crutches do you go through?
They snap in half about, I want to say, between 3 and 9 months, depending on how well that crutch holds up. Because they're not made to be permanently walked on. They're made to get you by into your leg or foot heels. And I probably should get an actual, like, they make them out of titanium and other materials for more permanence. You have to order them custom, but they usually cost a couple grand. But I have specialized tips, hand grips, and pads that last longer because those usually wear out too.
Right.
And I just transfer those from crutch to crutch right now. And I use because the cheap ones are like $50.
Now tell me about the race situation in New Orleans, because that's a mixed situation.
It's a lot more unique because a lot of the issues we see people complaining about all the time with the saying privilege and all of that is there's a lot of poor people in New Orleans that grow up side by side with poor black people, and it's just not as much of an issue from that aspect. I mean, there is still plenty of racism that goes back and forth, but the people that get along tend to get along a lot better. And
but you also have that rough element in New Orleans, like the Lil Wayne,
Oh yeah, I mean it's there. There's neighborhoods that it doesn't matter what color your skin is, not to go through it.
And you have the gay district too. That's pretty strong down there, right?
Well, it's not really a district as much as they're just everywhere. New Orleans New Orleans has always been a place where you could go to transgender shows or transvestite shows and all that.
Are you a fan of Creole food, music?
I'm a fan of the food. The music is horrible. Look up Zydeco. Yeah. If you look up Zydeco, it's the most horrible thing on the planet.
Is it?
it's racket. But did you see what happened after the recent floods?
No, what happened?
The recent floods where Cenk Uygur ended up saying that people in Louisiana shouldn't live in Louisiana.
For what reason?
Because the area that flooded is areas that haven't flooded for over 100 to 150 years. But he was blaming it as, these people live in Louisiana and it always floods there all the time because he doesn't know shit. And as you know, he doesn't do any of his research. But during that, there was pretty much everybody who owned a boat in Louisiana went to the flooded areas and got people out. And then shortly after that, there was several black families making videos on YouTube saying, who came to save us after floods? It wasn't Black Lives Matter. It was white people on boats.
Yeah, I would venture to say people on the ground, they know what's up. They know how white people act and how neighbors act among neighbors. There's no conspiracy. I think people hype it up more than...
Well, that's the thing, too. Out here, everybody actually seems to know their neighbors. I think there's a lot of neighborhoods in different regions of the United States where nobody talks to their neighbors. And that doesn't really happen here.
Now, tell me about your online life in terms of your social media, your YouTube viewing.
On social media, I just piss everybody off. I get people removing me from Facebook so often that I wrote a plugin that figures out who removed me.
No way. No, that means they flag you, or what does it mean?
No, they just unfriend me because I say stuff that pisses them off.
So
I think 2 people removed me when I posted your revised regressive agenda.
Oh wow. So is it just the regressives, or is it what are you?
You blocked me once.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, did you deserve it?
I don't know. I asked you what happened and you never responded.
I lose track, man. You might have caught me in
Uh,
a block rage.
I think it happened after a certain stream, a certain podcast, and I got probably caught in the fodder.
Are you a Trump guy?
No, I voted for John McAfee.
The hell is that?
John McAfee is the guy who actually created McAfee antivirus.
Okay. What?
And I figured if I'm going to vote for a madman, I'm going to vote for a real madman. And because I'm so hard on the Fourth Amendment, he was the only pro Fourth Amendment guy I could find. And my state's going to go Trump no matter what I do.
Sure. Okay, so you just kind of like the hell with it. Did you see Trump at the press conference?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
As somebody who doesn't have a dog in this race anymore, I just laughed at it.
It did not seem like a civil thing, and what was being said was so bizarre and counterfactual. It just feels like there's no adults out there. Like nobody is regulating on these people.
I mean, a huge problem with that is, he's guilty, and I feel like the media is just as guilty as he is. You may disagree with me on that. I mean, I know your stances.
Yeah, well, guilty on what?
On just the media's behavior over the last year.
Well,
they've enabled him, and not only have they enabled him, they've lost all of their integrity.
See, but
or nearly all of their integrity.
Yeah, well, if you flush it out, it's still not that crazy. The media can be held to account for the profit incentive is basically a death blow to our media and to the free press and to.
Well, I've heard some rambling that maybe they'll go back to a subscription-based thing because they're blaming people that I've talked to have said that they think a lot of it is that so many newspapers have lost so many subscriptions that now they have to resort to the ads, and corporate sponsorships. So I've seen a few various independent outlets that are trying to do more subscription-based stuff, and granted, they usually already have a liberal or conservative bias. So that's the thing that bothers me about that. But if something that truly goes for independence and watchdog that doesn't have a political bias starts getting subscriptions, that's when you can kind of see the reawakening that happened. That something that you remember when in history when yellow journalism started popping up. Well, the thing that crushed that really was subscription-based newspapers that started developing a record of good integrity, breaking real stories.
And that still exists, even though it's not as good as we might hope.
Yeah, stuff like the Washington Post and a few others do good things, but then they have a side to the newspaper that's just as tabloid as the rest.
There's that aspect, and then there's all these other voices. So the online, we have fake news. We actually have that. A bunch of bullshit artists who they can mouth off, and they have access to the TV studio. Essentially, it's as if in the middle of the '80s you just said, "Hey, everybody gets their own TV studio." And so it sounds like news. And hey, the guy dresses up. He's got a background graphic. Fuck, is that the news? The young people, they don't even understand. It's like, no, there was no checks and balances. There was no obstacles that this person had to go through to have the right, the honor of even claiming to present the news. And so it's just a clusterfuck now, and it doesn't seem like we're going to navigate through it.
I think something will eventually emerge. Yeah. Somebody's going to start something. It's going to develop a reputation. And then what's going to happen is that's going to become the big thing. It's going to get this huge reputation. And then it's going to squander it, and it's going to move in a cycle like that. That's what I think will happen.
Yeah. I just think that what we're talking about with credibility, which, by the way, is also used, on Yelp or Uber, your rating. So that is like a word of mouth thing that you have to earn each and every time out. And I think if we could do something similar and score these organizations, every year.
I know a lot of people, for instance, we all know Fox News is very right-winged. But there's at least one or two anchors on it that aren't that bad, and one of them's like Shepard Smith. Shepard Smith tends, do you remember when Ebola what's the word I'm looking for?
The Ebola epidemic?
Well, it wasn't really an epidemic. I'm talking about the scare from it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, he was the one guy that I seen that was like, look, this is very well contained. The people who've gotten back to the United States and have been treated are perfectly okay. You're not going to be able to catch it unless you're literally touching, bare skin, the fluids of another person that have it. And he was the only one not fear mongering over it. And he's at Fox News, where you would fully expect that type of fear mongering. So that's what you end up having to do, is look for specific people that have shown at least some type of reasonability and trustability at just stuff like that. So like Shepard Smith at Fox News and a few others at various different outlets, you tend to just see what they're doing and what they're saying and ignore the rest of just the garbage pundits on the rest of the outlets.
And they're just being outnumbered, and everything is getting lost in the mix, and it's hard to know who to trust, and people don't have time.
Well, not only that, but sensationalism, that's going to draw the eye faster for the majority of people, where if somebody's, slowing down and trying to be reasonable, that's not going to catch as many people's eyes.
Yes, and which brings us back to the profit incentive and how disastrous that is. Because in general, the people that are going to give you the real story and take the time to go through the details and give you an honest assessment, that's going to be in print. That is going to be long form. Here's all the information you need. And the print people are not the television people. The television people are just paid actors, essentially.
Yeah, and it's getting worse and worse, because it seems like more and more of the 24-hour channels are starting to take the online model of, let's just grab an article, state the headline of the article, and maybe 5 sentences of the article's actual facts. And then let's just talk about our thoughts and feelings about just that limited information.
Yeah, and that's compelling, and it could hold people's interest. What I find interesting is that barely ever would we see an interview with the editor-in-chief or the person whose personal philosophy about what to put on the news is exposed. Like, tell us, we have questions for this guy. There's so many choices that are made every morning, and they're being dictated by a principle, like a guideline, like a philosophy that comes from the top down. But do we know what that philosophy is? Because there's so many stories you can do and cover them in a variety of different ways. There's so much room for human error in this process that, it's never going to be perfect, but it's been bad for so long. And it makes you challenge, was it ever good? When did we ever have the free press or news that was commendable or something to aspire to?
Well, that's one thing, is you can't go back in history and have that type of information available to you to see how much they've lied to us in the past or made shit up, or shit that didn't matter or shit that did matter.
I mean, back in the day, though, I think maybe this is just me being naive, but the news was the only place that you were going to get the news. So they felt a responsibility, a civic responsibility, at least somebody's in those organizations, where they thought, if nobody else is going to cover this, the world's not going to know about this. So
it could have been, but on the other hand, we can't know for sure. But hopefully that was the case, and hopefully somehow, even though you can go get the news from anywhere, hopefully the market will emerge with some kind of a solution to finding real, reliable information.
Yeah, and we also have a problem of there's so much news now. We have so much information that it's an avalanche, and you'd expect that. We're in the information age, and it was just an avalanche, tidal wave of information.
Some people have started to no longer describe it as the information age, but actually the age of exponentials. Mm-hmm. And the theory behind that, or the hypothesis behind that, is that everything is growing so fast that you're going to reach a point where there's no way you can keep up with any of it. And I've started seeing some of the more reasonable people on my Facebook feed get to the point where they're just blocking all political posts only, and they're just using Facebook now to share memes and shit post.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
They're checking out.
Because we, as a species, are very ravenous for content. And so we seek new things. I want to know everything. If there's some dude in the Ukraine doing something cool artistically, I want to learn about it. If there's a girl doing a push-up on the beach in a cool way, I want to see that. But at some point, you have to scale back. So just as a personal stopgap, you got to be like, look, I don't have the time, man. So you have to make some choices. And I think we all do it individually, and I don't think there's one set way to do it. I don't think it's being taught. and there's a generation gap because the parents are trying to learn this too, so they don't even know what the hell they're doing. And the millennials now, I'm sure their online life is totally different than a Gen X person.
Yeah, it's the thing that I hate about where I am is I'm technically classed as a millennial, but I'm in that upper age bracket. I'm 31, where you can barely be qualified as a millennial.
Yeah, and it becoming more and more important is when you got online. And if you were past your adolescent years before you were online, then that's probably going to make a huge difference in how you were molded as a person.
Yeah, I think I got the internet at 13 or 14.
Oh my God, right at puberty? Hello.
I was on dial-up, dude.
Still.
I was on dial-up and the computer was in the living room.
Oh, brutal. So you probably you needed that app, or you needed a hotkey to minimize the windows.
Well, what my dad did is gave us zip disk.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just large 100 megabyte disk from a drive. They look like giant floppies.
And what would you do with that?
You just save whatever it was in there, and the moment anybody came in, you just punched a button.
Mm-hmm.
And because nothing was writing and it was only reading, it would just crash whatever it was, go into a blue screen, this computer restarted.
People come in, you're like, blue screened again, right when you came in. Funny that.
Well, back then, computers blue screened all the times, so
yeah.
Viable excuse.
Now, are you in a relationship now?
No, I'm single.
And would you classify yourself as a gamer?
I play games with people, yes. I don't know if I would classify as a gamer anymore. I used to play a shit ton more games than I do now.
What was your game?
I used to play in actual first-person shooter tournaments locally. I've played a lot of fighting games. And then the way I learned how to read is my father would have my brother, who's older than me, play a RPG game on Super NES. And he would make my brother read everything out loud. And that's how I learned how to read, is I just put 2 and 2 together and started figuring out the words.
Wow. Nintendo taught you how to read. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like it. So what has brought you to my channel?
I'm trying to remember the first set of videos I've seen on your channel, and I think the first time I actually seen you is I was watching Drunken Peasants, and they brought up the Jacqueline Gillen video.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of the things you were talking about on that, I agreed with, because I'm from New Orleans. I grew up with a mixture of all races, and I thought white privilege was bullshit. It was stupid. So from seeing that, I jumped over, started watching your stuff more and more. So I was one of the more positive things about them going after you.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I'm one of the people that went and watched your shit, and I'm like, this guy is dead on.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that TJ's from Louisiana. He's from fucking Mandeville, which is where all the rich people live anyway.
Oh, yeah?
That's why he has a little bit of that white guilt that peeks out every now and then.
Oh, no doubt.
Mandeville has a population of black people that's like 400 or 500 out of, I think, 20 or 30,000. The average family income there is in the 6 figures.
That's funny, because he's used his experience in Louisiana as credibility for, I know about the black people. Trust me, I'm from Louisiana. But he's from the white part.
Well, the thing is Mandeville is north of the lake that New Orleans is on. New Orleans is between the lake, Gulf of Mexico, and the Mississippi River. So north of the lake is Mandeville, across the causeway, which used to be the longest bridge in the world until China made theirs. And Mandeville it's where all the doctors live that work in New Orleans, and all the lawyers live. They all moved over there to get away from the crime.
Well, it doesn't surprise me that you are keeping it real on the issue of race, because anybody that lives in a biracial place, they know.
Dude, I've been attacked for being white.
Yeah,
so I mean,
recently, exactly. Yeah,
I wouldn't really call it a recent thing as an attack as much as a confrontation.
Sure.
But no, I've been physically, assaulted and had to fight back.
Well, if somebody physically assaults you, it's a hate crime. Because you have one leg.
Well, now it is, but probably not here.
Right. Oh my God. Do you get to keep your leg as a souvenir, like a tooth or a foreskin?
No, I'm extremely. I wish they did put it in a jar, but I think they did some testing on it and then incinerated it as a biohazard.
God, that was really creepy for me to ask.
No. I think it would be an amazing thing to have in a jar and use it as an end, a bookend for a bookshelf.
An icebreaker. You just walk in to a doctor's office with it in a jar, and you're like, "Could you reattach this, please?"
I mean, technically it's mine. I think my parents should have got it.
Right. What's up with that?
I don't know. I think they were just more caught up with the moment of trying to keep me alive because the amputation I wasn't supposed to live through.
Do you think that you're on borrowed time? I mean, are you?
I'm technically terminal, but I've passed up 3 death dates. So now the doctors are just like, whatever. We don't think you're gonna die anymore, but you should have.
Man's a zombie. Well, that's cool, man. I mean, congratulations on that, and I hope it doesn't stress you out.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I get aggravated with certain aspects, but you know, everybody has their own shit. Everybody gets dealt a different hand, and it's all relative. The shit that you consider problems in your life
Yeah,
or real to you, while these problems I have
sure.
are real to me.
Exactly. Well, I hope that your upcoming trip, whenever you decide to take it, is glorious. And if you do end
I'm
up
probably gonna take it next winter because I want to go to places when it's cold.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Because I live in fucking Louisiana and I grew up in a family that's traditionally German, so they kept the AC at like 50 something degrees.
Uh-huh.
And I start sweating at about 69, 70 degrees.
So you're just looking for a little chill?
Well, whenever it does get cold here, like in the 30s or the 20s, finally starts freezing, I feel a lot better. Because there's less just bacteria out and about because it's all dead from the cold.
Mm-hmm.
Just all around my health's better.
Well, that's cool.
So I really enjoy the cold.
Well.
Oh yeah, by the way, you've commented on my icon on YouTube before, and it's not an anime icon. It's actually a commissioned drawing of my dog and me.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I got caught up in the anime hatred.
No, and then my website used to be up, but I'm changing web servers. The reason why I don't call myself anonymous, even though I use a screen name everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So if you type my name.com, it comes up with my resume with my real name.
Mm.
So it's not like
it's no conspiracy.
I don't pretend to be anonymous by any means.
Well, it's hard for you to blend in with the one leg, so you're out there.
Yeah.
Not online though. Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have one older brother.
Uh-huh. And you close?
But also I kind of like I have my mother around. She's still around, but I grew up mostly raised by my father because they divorced when I was about, I want to say 11.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the same as you, but I come from pretty much a father, single father home.
Nice.
Like you did. So not quite to the same extent, but.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, fathers are irreplaceable, just as mothers are. But
yeah.
And if you lack one, it's more important for the other to pick up the slack and fill some of those roles, which it's not ideal, but
Well, it's probably the reason why I stuck with college, even though technically I could have just quit and collected state benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's something you'll find interesting too. Is they removed my permanently disabled status.
So you're fully functional, according to the government.
Well, according to the state, I'm disabled. According to the federal government, I'm not. But if I have a kid, the federal government says I'm disabled again.
Right. Now, what kind of kicking power do you have if you had to just drop kick a dude?
I don't know how many pounds of force that would be, but I could imagine because I walk on one leg all the time, it would hurt.
So is your one leg like strong? Like, do you have big ass muscles going on?
I think there's some compensation going there, but because the leg mostly just, what it does is it holds up my weight all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of actual lifting going on.
Okay, so then if your cardio, because you can't run, so cardio is going to be difficult. So and you're 31. Yeah.
A personal trainer has told me that me walking on crutches is probably more of the equivalent of doing a bear crawl everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So like my core is not strong at all. And it's very difficult to work out my core because when I do sit-ups, my center of gravity is so much higher.
Right.
That like I have to pin my leg under something. And then when I do that, I just feel tearing in my calf and thigh because it's just trying to pull. So it's really hard to get my core. And right now I'm trying to lose weight. My weight fluctuates drastically throughout the year depending on my health.
Give me your height and weight.
Okay, you're going to laugh, but I'm 5'2".
What the fuck? Hold on.
And
5'2"? Are you sure you don't have 0 legs?
I'm short guy, but I'm actually taller than both my parents.
Oh, okay. You come from a little weeble wobble family. I got you.
Yeah.
Cuties. And so, and your weight, 5'2", hit me.
And my weight right now is I'm back down to 155.
Okay, now, I don't know how to factor that into the fact that you have one leg because...
A leg is usually 16.7% of your body's weight.
Okay.
But if you take into consideration my upper body and my leg also have more muscle mass to compensate for that. So I would think instead of the 16%, it would be more like 10-ish%.
Okay, so you're telling me that you are, if we had to do some math, we're looking at you're 5'2", 165, 170.
Yeah, but I'm back on a downtrend, and usually when I'm at the bottom of a downtrend, I can get down to 130 pretty easily.
Oh, okay. So that's your ideal fighting weight. You're looking to drop another 20.
I think fighting weight would be like 125, 120.
Mm-hmm. So if you were caught naked in public, at this stage you wouldn't be super amped on it. It's not your best version of yourself.
Well, the way I carry weight is very evenly distributed.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't be my weight that I'm worried about. It would be the stump and the discoloration and deformity and all of the surgical scars all over me.
No doubt. Yeah, that
would really catch me off guard more than anything.
Yeah. Like, do you think that this would horrify children? Is it to that degree?
Previous girlfriends were shocked and horrified by the way my disease looks.
Mm-hmm.
Like to the point of like covering their faces and crying.
Have you thought about a career in operating a bell in a bell tower?
I'm not hunchback though at all.
But you're 5'2", you might as well be a hunchback.
Yeah, but I also look a lot better. I have a decent face.
Okay, but if you could, I think Quasimodo used ropes and he would just fly around on ropes, sort of Tarzan style, and you don't need legs for that, so it's all upper body. Your upper body strength has got to be good, right?
Yeah, it is pretty good. I think the heaviest guy I've beaten in arm wrestling was 220.
How's your push-up ability? Do you do push-ups?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And I can just pretty much do them until I get bored.
So how do you avoid showing the girlfriend El Stumpo? I'm trying to figure out, because other people have things below the belt that they're sort of not feeling that great about, and they either hook up in the dark or there's other things you can do, but
no, it's pretty much just like heads up. They already know about my blood vessel condition. They've seen, because it peaks out above the hip, above the waistline.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll see that first, which has been heavily operated on. Yeah. And it kind of just, continuing through conversation, you just ease it and hope for the best.
It is what
the interesting thing is when you run into a chick where they get fetished over it.
Oh, what is that like?
Like they like surgical scars and shit like that.
Oh my Lord, who are you hanging out with?
I'm from New Orleans. I kind of hang out in the industrial community.
Do you think that there are any vampires in New Orleans?
There's people that are gonna act like they're vampires, and
yeah.
Give me 1 second. I gotta let my dog in.
Sure. Damn, I'm loving this video. Downloading this shit.
Sorry, I'm back.
Oh, no problem.
I have a Shiba Inu from a previous relationship. It was her Valentine's Day gift, and I kept it because her 2 hedgehogs died.
I just watched a video about a bald hedgehog today. How random is that?
It's pretty random.
Yeah, he needed to have oils rubbed on his back all the time. It was like a condition. I don't know. That's what I would like. I'm a bald hedgehog. I need to be rubbed down. So,
yeah.
Are you into the arts at all, or are you straight up computer guy?
A lot more of a computer guy. I've done stuff like Photoshop work. I know how to do video editing, but it's more like I can't make a decision of what to do.
How's your singing voice?
If somebody tells me what they want to see or what they want to do, as far as like editing goes, I can do it because I understand the technologies behind it.
Okay.
So like I know how to do Gaussian blurs, tracking, and all that. The problem is that I just won't have the idea of what I want to make because I'm not an extremely artistic person. I do know how to read music. I used to play trumpet, baritone, xylophone, things like that in high school. But I just never really stuck with it. I tried it out, learned how to do it, and didn't really enjoy it as much.
Have you ever suffered through massive depression in your life?
Instead of depression, I just get really angry and really apathetic.
Rage and apathy. Based on what?
Yeah. Just whatever is the barrier that I've encountered that I'm dealing with. Because a lot of the problems I've encountered is having to be in a state of limbo and waiting.
But, I mean, couldn't you make the case that that's rightful rage? So, I mean, you have a good reason to be angry.
Well, that's usually why it doesn't become a problem to most people when, like, I'm in a bad mood. And not only that, but I usually don't take it out on other people in any kind of way.
Mm-hmm. So you deal with it in a healthy manner?
Or try to. I can become quite a pest in, like, online areas.
Talk to me about swimming. Can you swim?
I love swimming.
Deep end?
Yeah. Once it gets warm here again, I'm planning on going back swimming because I just lose weight so much faster. But what happens is I'll start swimming and I'll swim back and forth for about an hour. Like after every 2 or 3 laps, I just take like 30 to 90-second break, catch my breath and everything. And after an hour, I just jump out the pool, take 1 or 2 of my narcotics, and then I just go back in for 2 more hours.
Doing drugs and then swimming, probably not doctor recommended. And how do you operate in there? Are you like an eel or a dolphin? What kind of a kicking game do you have?
I do some kicking, but the leg is really more or less used for stability and flattening out, and I use more of my upper body.
So you go doggy paddle? I mean, your arms must be really skilled because...
Well, I don't really do the doggy paddle though, just because like the way the weight's distributed in my body. So what I end up doing when I need to float to rest is I just turn over on my back and just spread out.
Yeah, tell me the weight distribution. So you're top heavy. You're like a girl with huge tits. And so what do you do? Like when does that come into play? I guess if you're horizontal.
When swimming, that's what I do is I use my leg out and, just try to balance myself the way I'm flat and then just swim forward with the arms.
Because otherwise your body's going to basically tip over like the Titanic and you're just going to get sunk from your head. Your head's going to get submerged because there's more weight on the top of your body.
Well, no, because also your air's on the top of your body, so that balances out because of your lungs. But what'll happen is the back end will tip and you'll create drag.
Okay, so what are the things you just cannot do with one leg where you're just like, I'm not even going to try that?
I'm not going to try to do anything that's running and jumping.
Okay, so that's
pretty obvious. To run to build momentum and try to jump across something.
Okay, so parkour is not your thing.
No.
But is there something that you see other people doing and you think, God damn it, I wish I could do that?
Anything that revolves around major speed, like I can move fast on crutches, but it's fast in relation to people who are on crutches temporarily.
So do you ever watch something and in total envy? Do you ever just look at an athlete, basketball player just jumping and dunking and just think, fuck? I mean,
probably anything that has to do with combat sports.
Actually, there's a guy with one arm who's in high-level mixed martial arts, and he's really good.
Well, the reason why I can't do combat sports is because if a shock hits that area of my body, I'm going to be in the hospital.
Sure. And I think a leg would be more problematic than the arm. This guy...
I wouldn't... It would be bad to do like MMA, but boxing wouldn't be an issue. I just would have to be... I just would have to be able to take punishment.
Sure. Yeah, I can see
because I'm not going to be able to get in and out fast. I'm going to have to counterpunch probably. So anybody with more reach than me is just going to fuck me up. But with my weight and height, if I got into like a fighting weight, I'm probably going to be like, let's say I got into fighting weight. I was like 125 pounds, which is really small for a dude. I might end up having the advantage there.
Yeah,
the problem though, I think, would be the transfer of energy from legs to the upper body. I think a lot of that would be reduced.
Well,
So
you do
I would
see-
have to see.
Yeah, you do see advantages and disadvantages in different body types. There's always a tall guy versus a short muscle guy. Even the light heavyweight former champ, John Jones, he's got real thin legs. In fact, his nickname is Bones, but he's got a big upper body. And so
Yeah, I would have to actually get with a boxing coach and have them see how I can perform, because that is something I'm looking for a gym now that I'm out of college.
Mhm.
And one of my friends who she works out at a gym wants me to go to her gym, and they have a boxing coach there. So I thought about it,
nice.
but
Now,
I definitely would need to get in a better weight. And because of the prosthetic, the way the prosthetic works, it actually shells around my entire stump area.
Hmm.
So the shock to that area would be less chances on an accidental hit in boxing.
I feel like stump is an old school word, isn't it? In some
Yeah,
way?
well, no. The reason why it's there is doctors originally used it as, for instance, if you cut off a part of a tree, what's left is called a stump,
Sure.
no matter if it's at the base or at a limb. So it was just a natural adaptation to use on the body, since legs and arms are referred to as limbs.
You can't stump the stump.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know. You seem to be well adjusted, my man. It's very impressive. So
I think it would have been a lot worse off if I got to like 13 or 14 and then amputate it, like do a car accident or something.
well,
The thing is I never knew what life would be like for people with two legs. I can't miss what I don't understand or don't know.
yeah, and that's the sort of blissful ignorance that is helpful in a situation like this. But you
And I
seem-
think it was helpful, like I said, about my parents not taking it easy on me.
but you've crafted a life that is, totally functional and filled with adventure and challenges and success. So it's not the most debilitating thing imaginable. But I'm sorry if I obsess on it. It's just because for you,
No, it's the thing that's startlingly different than me than most other people. It's
Sure.
understandable why you would focus in on it.
yeah,
The thing is like everybody, like the thing I've always noticed in public is children look, and of course they look, because back when I was younger, you never see a young person missing a leg usually.
So
Super rare.
what do you say to a child who says, "Mommy, look, this guy has no one leg"?
Usually the mom ends up being like, "Oh no, leave him alone." I'm like, "No, it's okay." And I just tell them that I was born sick and the doctors had to cut my leg off. And usually for most kids,
Mhm.
that's enough. If it's an older kid, I'm like, "Oh, I have a blood vessel condition." And it just depends on, I just tell them there's no use in hiding it.
You should scare them and just say, "I cut my own leg off because I didn't like the look of it, and I don't like the look of you."
Then I have to deal with parents in this day and age.
Yeah. Have you ever shown somebody your stump because you wanted to gross them out?
No.
You're very sensitive about it.
It's not that I'm sensitive as much as that it's when I focus on hiding it.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I mean,
It changes all the time, right?
like I have a question for you, more or less. Like, for instance, we know that you shave your head and you wear bandanas.
Yeah.
Why did you wear the bandanas?
Um,
Same reason probably why I usually try to hide the stump a little bit in some way. It might not be exactly the same.
No. Back when I was 20, the reason I wore them was probably to salvage a youthful appearance. I wasn't happy to be a bald guy, but then nowadays, no, it's just for practical reasons, to like protect from the sun and from my own sweat. So like I wear them when I work out. In fact, I remember I showed up at a gym once and I forgot my bandana, and I felt naked. I was like, I can't do this. My head is not equipped for this. I don't want to just wipe sweat off my face the whole time.
That's how I feel in shorts.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like I the only pair of shorts I own are swimming trunks. That's it.
How does this blood condition affect your dong?
I don't have any problems with it.
But what if you're getting erection? You have extra blood flow down there. You don't have extra nerves or anything.
To my knowledge, aside that lasting really long,
Mhm.
I don't think there's any issues.
Are you into?
And by lasting really long, I mean like 3 or 4 hours.
Oh shit. Are you into S&M and dominatrix?
No. I don't want anybody commanding me.
You're pretty vanilla when it comes to your sexual lusts and desires.
I'm just,
Eh.
I think I'm pretty normal.
Are-
I can't think of anything that crazy that I'm into.
Have you dabbled with the Negro?
No.
Not your cup of tea?
I think the most non-white one of my girlfriends was she was half Cuban, half Ukrainian.
Nice.
It was some East or maybe Slavic.
There you go. Yeah, that's the way to go. Well, it looks like you want to reconnect with your white heritage with your trip of the Northern Territories.
I did take 2 semesters of German, and my family was one of those families that came from Germany after World War II. My grandfather was in NASA, like I already said.
Mm-hmm. Has anybody ever pushed you over?
They've tried.
And you bounced out of it? You just said no? Not happening?
Either they weren't able to knock me over, or brought them down with me by grabbing hold of them and bringing them with me.
So they did it because they wanted to harm you, and they were like, fuck it.
I mean, you get in fights in school, man.
Yeah.
It happens.
You got picked
like
on.
They tried to pick on me, but that's the thing, is because of the interactions between my brother and I, the usual sibling rivalry,
Mm-hmm.
I was taught to fight back, and it ended up happening in school.
So you're a tough cookie.
And that's the biggest thing that would shock people, is that I would fight back and wouldn't allow myself to be picked on.
I like it. Do you have any tattoos?
No, I can't have tattoos because of the KTW.
Okay.
Like, that's the weird thing. The two people that know and understand KTW, that it seems like it would be outside their profession,
Mm-hmm.
from not being medical, is tattoo artists and masseuses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an ongoing situation.
It's like a 1 in 300,000 rate for people with this.
You won the lottery. You lost the lottery. Well, but it defines you. I mean, do you ever look at it that way and think, this shapes me, and this is why I am who I am today?
I mean, it's most definitely shaped me, and it's a large aspect, but I mean, with all people, like, one single factor can't be a full defining thing. Different things have different varying levels of influence.
It shapes you, and that shape is a triangle.
Oh, yeah. Especially if I hold my arms out in a V.
I love it, man. Well, but you can also milk it. I'm sure you've, used it to your advantage at some situations.
Dude, my family's used it to advantages. My dad, stayed home one day from work, and he's like, if work calls, tell him you're sick.
Yeah.
If you pick up the phone while I'm sleeping.
You have to write an essay for your college application, and you start with just having one leg by, it was a dark day 10 days into my life when I learned.
Well, I got into a shit ton of trouble in high school because I would just get in arguments with peers all the time, and
Mm-hmm.
that was pretty interesting, just because I would get in trouble all the time, and I would go up to the dean's office, and they're just like, so why were you making fun of this person? And I'm just like, because they're crying because their mom and dad took their car away. They don't understand what real problems are, so I felt like giving them shit.
Mm. Yeah. Well, man, your dad sounds like a cool cat, and he's still in New Orleans?
Yeah. He was in Vegas for a while taking care of my grandfather,
Mm-hmm.
but after he passed, him and my grandmother moved back into New Orleans.
I don't think I know your name.
Shane.
Shane.
I emailed you from ZX. I'm ZX everywhere else on the internet.
Okay, cool. Well, Shane, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I better take off because it's pretty late out here in Germany for me.
No problem.
But thank you for the call. Thank you for the support. And very interesting to learn about you. I hope my questions didn't offend you.
No, not at all. And call me anytime.
It's excellent to put a personality to the face and icon, and I'm sure I'll be seeing you around online.
Yeah. I've been in your. You modded me recently, so.
Oh, cool. Well, use your power. With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, I think Raph and I we kept timeouting somebody.
Okay, nice. Okay, well, let's chat again sometime. But for now, have a good night, and I will talk to you later.
All right, take it easy.
See you, man. Wow, pretty cool. My mic is low. Say what? Crack it, please. All right. Well, interesting. I got this cool video. Those girls, man. Can you believe how they were off the chain? I'm going to upload this video and have some fun with that. And
I have often wondered what it would sound like to hear the thoughts of a grown woman named Opal. It just so happens that one of the founders of Black Lives Matter is a woman named Opal. I have prepared my body for greatness. Commence.
People have been wondering what they should do since Trump has been elected. Here are 5 thoughts.
Oh, God. be important. Drops. Intersectional. This sounds like the plot line for a My Little... Can't do that. Don't... And he's got a beanie. Laser multi... Yay, look, it's a happy...
Okay. Peace out, people. I will talk to you later.